Мікрофон вже працює. Доброго дня.
Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings. Happy to be with you. We are starting the briefing of Ministers of Digital Transformation of Ukraine and Poland. Today, we have Janusz visiting us, State Secretary for Digitalization of Poland. Since the very first days, he has been actively helping us with the state registers, critical infrastructure, helping refugees, and also with many other issues. So we are actively cooperating with Poland in different directions. There's digital documents, Starlinks, Cybersecurity, Diia Business Warsaw. And today, during our briefing, the speaker is going to tell in detail about work results during the last half a year, and of course about new directions of cooperation between Ukraine and Poland. So allow me to introduce our speakers today. That's Mykhailo Fedorov, Vice Prime Minister and Minister for Digital Transformation of Ukraine, and Janusz, State Secretary for Digitalization of Poland. After the briefing, I'll make a small announcement that after the briefing, we invite you to interactive presentation of Starlinks. You'll be able to see and try how quickly satellite internet Starlink works. We'll tell you more details about this presentation a bit later. And now I give the floor to Mykhailo Fedorov. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Well, I start from saying that when full-scale invasion started, very few people expected that digital infrastructure of Ukraine is going to work, because there were cyber attacks and in general the destruction of information infrastructure are the first step during physical invasion. But everything that we have been doing for 3 years before that, the way we were building our digital infrastructure in general, what we were doing to protect ourselves, not just to protect ourselves, but also to work and launch almost every week new services. But we wouldn't have been able to keep that stability if we didn't have any help from our partners from different European countries and all over the world. And you know that Ukraine has Ministry for Digital Transformation. What we are doing is that we are building Actually, we started creating digital teams, digital ministries. And in the beginning of war, the Minister of Digital Transformation, other European countries, and they also are friends that we can base ourselves on during the war. And I would like to tell you about cooperation with our Polish colleagues, because I don't know how to describe that in simple words, but how great the great help that they provided to our country. And everything started since the very first days of the war, when Janusz, as a state secretary responsible for digitalization of Poland, took up leadership in organizing all ministers of digital transformation in the European Union. And in the very first days, we had a call. In the nearest few weeks, we got a batch of Starlinks, 5,000 of them. So the first Starlinks collected and received in Ukraine, this was Starlinks that we got thanks to the leadership of our Polish counterpart. The following important step was in our cooperation when we started very quickly transfer our basic registers to the cloud, and either for storage abroad, so that the customs and the tax office keep working in the social field as well, so that we weren't afraid of missiles, so that the infrastructure is stable. So we store the data in the cloud, and some registers are abroad. So thanks to our Polish colleagues, we were able to open and store data in Poland in a data center, data of the customs, of the tax office, and thanks to this process, we can be sure that this data are going to be all right, they will be preserved. Then our Polish counterparts launched Diia in Poland, and now Ukrainians, Poland is a leader among European countries where there are most Ukrainians during the war. Now they have the chance to get a certificate for temporary residence in the mobile app and use it in Poland. That's like a document which is a key one for Ukrainians in Poland. They can even cross internal EU borders with this document. So now there is a product like that, which our Polish colleagues have quickly reinstated so that Ukrainians feel just as comfortable with digital documents in Poland like they do in Ukraine. The following important step is that today we announced for the first time, and now with the support of Polish government, this is their help 100%. We got a new batch of Starlinks, 5,000 of them for our needs. So about 20,000 of Starlinks are going to be in Ukraine after this batch is received in our critical infrastructure, medical field, social field, people who live in the front lines, the military for communication with their families. All our critical infrastructure will get a new batch of Starlinks so that we could be in touch in spite of electricity, internet disruptions, mobile or fixed. So this is an element of critical infrastructure, communications, and this big batch. I mean, Poland even doesn't have as many Starlinks, just like any other European state. And our colleagues are helping us and our military so that we could be defending our country and help with the communications. And also, today we are going to present to you for the first time, just as we have announced, about the Starlinks. Will also show you a new service that we are launching jointly with our Polish colleagues. That's an opportunity from Diia, Ukrainian Diia, because you have understood that there is also Polish Diia, to share your driver's license and car registration into a Polish app, and in this way to get electronic driving license and electronic car registration to be used in Poland, so that our Ukrainians, who are several millions there, who live in Poland, so that they could use electronic driving license and car registration in Poland. That's actually the very first case in the EU. We are an EU candidate, not a member, but so that's the first case like that when two countries have this interesting exchange of new format for document sharing from one electronic app of the state to another. And this opens up great opportunities in the EU for us, because now the electronic documents are studied by it closely. We are involved in working groups dealing with that issue. In Ukraine and Poland are now getting exclusive and unique experience of using electronic documents, not just inside the countries, but also when exchanging documents between the states. And now we're going to work so that Polish electronic documents, so that we could take and read them in Ukraine. So before giving the floor to Janusz, I would like to thank him and the Polish government, Prime Minister and President of Poland, for supporting Ukraine. And probably, that's a unique experience of communication with other governments from the countries in this format, when every conversation with Janusz ends with like, what else can I do? What else can we do? How else can we help you? And we really appreciate that and thank for that. So now the floor goes to Janusz.
Thank you very much. I have to say I'm understanding more and more. So, as Mykhailo said, from the day one, we wanted to do everything that we can, also on the digital front. We are similar age, so we understand each other very well, and we understand that a modern society cannot function well without being present in the digital world. And we are very impressed by all the developments that we see in Ukraine, the amazing Diia app and the entire ecosystem around it. So this is why we thought that we could introduce similar mechanisms in Poland for Ukrainian citizens that are temporarily in our country. But also, as Mykhailo said, we want this to be a start of a cooperation which will go both ways, which will mean that Polish documents will also be available throughout the Ukrainian app, and this will, in my opinion, contribute to closer cooperation in the upcoming future. We believe that the future is digital, and we have a short clip that we wanted to show how this solution that our teams have worked on, and I would like to thank a lot to the teams from the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, my team back in Warsaw, who have worked ferociously for the past weeks, and this is how it will work in a few simple steps. mObywatel is the Polish equivalent of Diia. You will be able to add the data which you have in your app, and you will be able to present this to the Polish authorities in Poland. We have chosen, we have agreed upon that we will want to finish this functionality to be up and running by the end of the year. We have the prototype, the technical details all done. But as usually in digital affairs, now it's time for the bureaucracy, and we still have to go through some of it. So we give ourselves the few months until the end of the year, when we will be able to launch this solution on the production environment and make it available for everyone who will be traveling through Poland, so they can show their driver's license and car registration. Also, to be digital, there is one prerequisite, and that is to be connected. This is why, apart from the military support that the Polish government has provided, which is done by our president, our prime minister, our deputy prime minister, minister of defense, we wanted to help bring as many Ukrainians as possible back online. This is why we chose the Starlink technology, and we are very happy that we were able to deliver these to crucial points, crucial parts of Ukraine, and we are very happy that it is being used towards the good of Ukrainian citizens. We are very happy to see that our cooperation, despite the fact that we have actually signed a memorandum today on cybersecurity, to do all this, we didn't sign anything. So it shows that when you have dedication and commitment and a mutual understanding, like the one I believe we have with Mykhailo and his team, you can achieve a lot. And we hope that everything that we are making right now, all of the cooperation that we have, it is a testing ground for further integration of Ukraine with the European Union. Because as with our app, it will take bureaucrats some time to do the paperwork, but we can do digital solutions very quickly, and you have an extremely talented team of programmers, of designers who make it all happen for you every day, and we are extremely impressed with all the developments that we have seen of how your digital ecosystem works. And we would like you to be a part of the Polish digital ecosystem and the European digital ecosystem. And it is my strong belief that it's not memorandums that we need to make that happen, but actual use cases. And when the people will know how good it works, they will demand more and more. And I think it is both of our jobs to serve our people and to serve them in a way which really solves their problems, and I am happy that I can be a part of that. Thank you very much.
Дуже дякую, Яnusz.
Thanks a lot, Janusz. And now I would like to give the floor to our guests, journalists. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask, please raise your hand. Please introduce yourself and your publication, and then please follow up with the question. Yes, please, colleagues. Sorry, without the mic, I cannot interpret the question. Yes, actually, in Diia we have already launched several opportunities to get new driver's license, and we hope that we'll be able to launch new functions in October and do everything in line so that you don't even need to carry a medical certificate to the service centers. And after that, we'll just need to make a repeat request into this Polish app is going to have new driving license, so everything was going to be done online. And the following question that I have is to your counterpart.
International passport of Ukrainian citizen in Poland app, please.
So there is the passport issue it's a very complicated one. This is why we started with the driver's license, because it's also very practical. But we have done something which will help Ukrainian citizens travel throughout Europe. We have introduced the very first residence permit, electronic residence permit in Europe. And actually, because when the invasion started, 3 weeks after, for every Ukrainian citizen that came to Poland, we issued an identification number which made it possible to use all the public services, the digital ones as well. And a part of that effort was to create an electronic ID, like the ID that you have in your Diia app. And at the beginning, we saw that it was not as popular as we thought it would be. But then in July, we introduced the possibility to use it as the residence permit. So it allows you to travel within the Schengen zone as well. And this is an extremely important document for all Ukrainian citizens that want to, that are in Poland, but then also in other European countries. So this is something we can do. The electronic passport, this requires agreement of all 27 EU countries. So it would be our expectation that that would be done by, the half of next year. But to be honest, I don't think that these are processes that go that fast. This is why, like I said, we want to focus on things that we can implement in our countries and show all European countries that they can go down the same road that we practiced together, because we strongly believe that it's the best to lead by example and show that we can make things happen, and if people see it, if decision makers see it, it will be easier for them to agree for future developments.
Дякую дуже. Тут було питання, другий ряд.
Thanks. There was also a question here. Safronov Lisa, Bloomberg. Maybe a bit off topic, but still. Do you have any details of a drone army project? And maybe the Polish party is also ready to join this project. Thank you. Yes, about the details, the drone army is a project that we are doing together with the armed forces of Ukraine to provide for the whole front line with intelligence drones. At the very first stage, it's going to be just intelligence drones, and all over the depth of the front. Now we have already collected 855 million hryvnias for the drone army. We have already contracted more than for 600 million hryvnias. That's 200 plus birds, big birds, which fly up to 120 kilometers. And now our task of the whole Ukraine is to support this, sustain this number, because that's how much you need to perform all tasks every day. This is the number that we need to have. We are preparing a new stage of the project. Which drones these are going to be, we're going to soon announce that. But the first stage, until the end of August, we're going to close it. As for cooperation with our Polish counterparts, no matter how I tried for the whole day to bring this issue.
It's a bit different in the Polish government, so my ministry is not responsible for this area. But as with everything else, we will see what we can do. And sometimes we manage to do things we thought were impossible. So I hope maybe this time also we'll be able to provide some support on that.
Да, але насправді перші навіть
That's true, but actually, even the first contracts that we did, FlyEye and were made drones, that's actually a Polish company. And as for the speed, logistics, and any bureaucratic issues, there is already significant help from Polish government, and we have discussed possible first next steps. Janusz's team is not responsible for the issue, that's true, but just believe me, there is systemic assistance from those who are responsible. Sorry, there was a question. The mic is coming to you. Hello. A question to Mykhailo. Last week, the Ministry of Defense said that the armed forces get NATO weapons, so we need to mobilize IT people because they're going to quickly work with this equipment? How will this influence the reserve in the IT staff? And how many IT people have already had some delay in mobilization? Well, I haven't heard this statement specifically, actually, but the IT experts are reserved all the time. They work in the intelligence and the state special communications. There are lots of other tasks that they are responsible for. There are some tactical tasks and specific missions which have to be done. And presently, as far as I know, about 20,000 experts are reserved for mobilization, but this process is ongoing. Somebody is re-reserved, somebody's reserve expires, and that's it. So I think that it shouldn't really influence the reserving process of IT people. I don't know that there's going to be a special way of getting prepared, but that's a permanent process happening. As far as I know, the latest number is 20,000. Thank you. And the following question. Hello, my name is Victor. Слово і діло, Київ. A question to Mykhailo. Do you plan to spread the drone army project to the heavy attack drones? What you just can inform? The question is that in July there was information from the US that they are concerned, they're afraid of supplying these unmanned armed vehicles like that. So maybe there are some arrangements about training. Could you please inform us? That's a good question. I already touched it. In the last answer, we're going to send separate plans about the development of drone army project. But of course, the kamikaze drones, the attack drones, there is an upscaling potential for our victory. So we'll present that separately. Thank you. Colleagues, please. Are there any more questions among the audience? There are some repeat questions. Okay, if somebody else hasn't yet asked from the media, those who wanted to, please do. Hello, Stas Yurasov, FUA. I wanted to about the driving license available until the end of the year. How this is going to work? Could you please describe in more detail? I mean, I saw that there was some kind of, like a person would upload the driving license into a Polish app, right? And then they use it, or that person could show them in Diia and use them in Poland. I can answer, actually.
To make sure I understand the question correctly, thank you. So the reason why we chose this way of integrating the apps is mObywatel is an app which everyone in Poland, every official knows, understands, and it also is important for us if we want to do this quickly, to be within an ecosystem which our authorities, our institutions, our police department, for instance, they know and understand. So this is why we chose a way where we take the data from your app and it is stored only within the user's application. This is one of the fundamentals of the design of our app, that all your data stays on your device. So this is for the best possible data protection, data security of any citizen that will want to use it. We understand that maybe more convenient solutions that would be available to casual users are also possible, and we have discussed this today, how to make it happen to better integrate with the Diia ecosystem. But this requires a bit more of development, and also it's more of an issue because of data protection rules within the EU. But we are looking at all possible solutions, and we hope to provide, because it is I think the goal of both of us, we want to do what is best for our customer, which is the citizen. So we want to evaluate different possibilities to get the best product. This is the best we can deliver quickly and effectively, But we are 100% sure that, like any mobile app in 2022, we develop, and change to have the best possible product. Thank you.
Да, додам ще кілька слів.
I'll add several more words. Actually, we have regulated all in Ukraine. The transfer of data in Poland, that's like data sharing, that's how it works. It's from a specific app to a specific app, and we need a bit more time. There is a separate law that they need to get adopted so that it works. The specifics is that working documents about driving licenses, like for example, they check by the number in the register. The police officers, they might not even have a special gadget like ours do to make those checks. And that is why that's the culture that is already there and works, not to overload people with document check. Everybody knows mObywatel app, and we are going to share documents to that app, but this is recognized already here, is going to be recognized in Poland, special integration performed. So this is how it is different from any other data sharing, this procedure. But that's just several clicks. Request Diia, and then the documents go to that app. Thanks. The last question, please. Please help us with the mic. Hello, Alan Turushin, Channel 24. Could you please clarify about Starlinks? As far as I understand, 20,000 we already have, and 30 more have to arrive. Which share? No, we have 13,000 and 5 have arrived. But of course, we would like to have the 40,000. So, how many Starlinks should have arrived so that Ukraine has enough of them? How many is going to be sent to the front? How many will remain for infrastructure objects? And was it actually bought by the state, or they were gifted? We didn't spend money for that. Everything is paid for by our Polish counterparts, as well as technical support of Starlinks. That's a lot of money because a lot of traffic passes through Starlinks, and there is a separate price there. So that's a lot of money. We don't pay for that. As for the use, now there is distribution of Starlinks for medical and energy infrastructure. I'm not going to go into too much detail because that's a rather sensitive issue, and just the sensitive issue is about how much more do we need. Because of course there's an opportunity to study needs for our people. I can tell you that we need at least 1/2 from what we have, and then I cannot tell you more specifically because, again, that's rather sensitive. Thanks a lot, colleagues, for your questions. And now, symbolic question at the very end. I would like to invite everyone to see and test how Starlink works. So I invite everyone to go outside and get involved. Thanks everyone for the participation and for the questions.